Picture this. You've met someone. She checks most of the boxes. She's attractive. She's interesting. You actually enjoy spending time with her. But somewhere in the back of your mind, there's a quiet little voice asking, is she actually the one? Is she someone I can build a real life with? Not just a date, not just to enjoy for a season, but actually build with? And that question is one of the most important ones you will ever sit with. And I think a lot of people rush past it, or worse, they avoid it entirely because they are afraid of the answer. My name is Ellie. Welcome to Being Intentional, where we have honest conversations about relationships, purpose, and what it really means to choose well. If that's the kind of conversation you need in your life, subscribe and stick around. Today, I want to walk you through 5 signs that she's a marriage material. Not 5 things to check off a list. 5 real, meaningful things to pay attention to. The kind of things that tell you who someone actually is, not just who they are when everything is good. And I want you to genuinely think about a person in your life right now as we go through this. Be honest with yourself. That's the whole point. Now, let's get into it. Sign number 1. She has her own sense of self. And I mean this in the deepest way. Not just that she has hobbies or a job. I mean she knows who she is. She has her own values, her own standards, her own relationship with herself that exists completely outside of you. Here's why this matters so much. When you choose a life partner, you're choosing someone whose identity is going to be woven into yours. If she doesn't have a foundation of her own sense of direction, her own inner world, what happens if she starts to rely on you for everything? Her mood, her confidence, her sense of worth, all of it starts coming from you. And that is an enormous weight to carry. I've seen this play out so many times. A man chooses a woman who seems sweet and low maintenance. And she is at first. But over time, the relationship starts to feel suffocating because she has no life outside of him. She's not growing. She's not bringing anything new to the table. She's just there. And there's nothing wrong with her as a person. But a relationship needs 2 full people, not 1.5. Having a sense of self doesn't look the same for everyone. It doesn't mean she has to be building a business or climbing up the corporate ladder. Maybe she's passionate about her faith. Maybe she's deeply committed to her family or her community. Maybe she's a creative who is constantly working on something. The specifics don't matter as much as the energy. The question is she engaged with her own life? Is she growing? Does she have things that light her up and have nothing to do with you? If the answer is yes, that's someone who will bring something real into a marriage, not just feel a role. And honestly, a woman who has a sense of self is also a woman who chose you on purpose. She's not with you out of desperation or fear of being alone. She's with you because she genuinely wants to be. That means something. Sign number 2, she communicates like an adult. I know that sounds simple, but think about how rare it actually is. Conflict is going to happen in every relationship. It doesn't matter how compatible, how much you love each other, how much you have in common, you will disagree. You will hurt each other's feelings sometimes, accidentally or otherwise. Life will create pressure that spills over into how you interact. That's just real. The question isn't whether conflict will happen. The question is, what does she do when it does? Does she shut down, give you silent treatment for days because she can't figure out how to say what she's feeling? Does she bring up things from 6 months ago every time you have a disagreement? Or does she come to you and say, hey, I need to talk about something. Can we sit down? Communication is one of those things that sounds obvious until you are actually in it. And a lot of people, genuinely good people, never learned how to do it well. They grew up in households where conflict meant shouting or silence or one person always backing down. And they carry those patterns into their adult relationship without even realizing it. A woman who is a marriage material understands the goal of a hard conversation isn't to win. It's to understand each other and find a way forward. She can say, I was wrong. She can hear feedback without falling apart, without getting defensive. She can be upset and still treat you with respect. That kind of communication doesn't just make a relationship easier, it makes it survivable. Because marriage is long, decades long, and you need to know that when the hard seasons come, and they will, you can actually talk to each other. Pay attention to how she handles the small disagreements now. That's practice for the big ones later. Sign number 3, she respects you consistently, not just when it's convenient. This one is important, and I think it gets overlooked because respect can be easy to fake in early stages of a relationship. Anyone can be respectful when things are good, when she's happy with you, when you've just done something impressive, when she's in a good mood. Of course, she's going to treat you well. And that's not the test. The test is what happens when she's frustrated with you. What happens when she's venting to her friends and your name comes up? Is she building you up or tearing you down? What happens when someone in her life says something dismissive about you? Does she defend you or laugh along? What happens when she's embarrassed or caught off guard? Does she throw you under the bus to save face? Respect is not just how she talks to you directly. It's about how she represents you when you are not there. It's about whether she honors what you share in private. It's about whether she takes your opinions seriously even when she disagrees. It's about whether she treats your time and your energy like they matter. And it goes both ways. I want to be clear about that. You need to bring that same consistent respect to her. But right now, we are talking about what to look for. If you ever felt small around her, not because you were actually wrong about something, but because she made you feel that way, sit with that. A woman who is a marriage material makes you feel safe being yourself. She doesn't cut you down to make herself feel bigger. She doesn't use your vulnerabilities against you. She builds with you, not over you. She's steady when life gets hard. Here is something that nobody really talks about when they talk about finding the right partner. How does she handle pressure? Not the pressure of a bad day at work. Real pressure. The kind where money is tight and neither of you knows exactly how you're going to get through it. The kind where there is a healthy scare and the fear is sitting right in the room with you. The kind where your plans fall apart and you have to start over. Because that is marriage, not just the beautiful moments, just the trips and the dinners and the laughing in the car. Marriage is also the middle of the night when something is wrong and you don't know how to fix it yet. And who is she in that moment? Does she disappear emotionally when things stop being fun? Does she blame you when life doesn't go according to plan? Or does she sit with you in it? Does she say, okay, what do we do next? Does she hold it together when you need someone steady? I'm not saying she has to be a superhero. She's allowed to be scared. She's allowed to struggle. But a woman with emotional stability doesn't let her fear turn into chaos for everyone around her. She processes what she's feeling, and then she shows up. This is one of the hardest things to assess when everything is going well in the relationship because the pressure hasn't come yet. Pay attention to smaller moments. How does she handle a bad day? How does she respond when plans change last minute? How does she talk about difficult things she's already been through in her life? That will tell you a lot. You want someone who is going to be a steady presence when life gets loud, not someone who adds noise to it. Sign number 5, she makes you better without trying to change you. This last one is the one that matters most, I think. There's a difference between a woman who pushes you to grow and a woman who is constantly trying to reshape you into someone else. One comes from love, the other comes from control. A woman who is a marriage material sees who you actually are, not just who you could be after she fixes all the things she doesn't like about you. She accepts you, she loves the version of you that exists right now. And at the same time, her presence in your life makes you want to be better. Not because she's nagging you, not because she's keeping score, but because she's the kind of person who inspires that naturally. Her work ethics, the way she carries herself, you find yourself wanting to match her energy, wanting to be more disciplined, more intentional, more thoughtful. Not because you feel like you're not enough, but because being around her reminds you of what you are capable of. That's a rare thing. And when you find it, you will recognize it because it doesn't feel like pressure. It feels like possibility. Now, no person is going to be perfect in all 5 of these. That's not the point. The point is the overall picture. Is she genuinely a good person? Is she growing? Is she honest? Is she someone you can weather the hard seasons with? If you're thinking about someone right now, and most of these things are true, don't take that lightly. That's worth protecting. If this conversation resonated with you, drop a comment below and tell me which sign hit closest to home. I genuinely read all the comments. And if you know someone who is at that stage in their relationship, share this with them. It might be exactly what they needed to hear. My name is Ellie. Thanks for being here. I'll see you in the next one. Stay blessed.